So this video is going to be a short review of the Microsoft PowerToys tool that Microsoft has released quite a bit ago. The Microsoft PowerToys tool, if you don't know, offers a lot of additional functionality that's not normally found within Windows. A lot of test kind of functionality, things like that. And it's not really an official, it is an official Microsoft product, but it's not officially supported by them, so it doesn't have like a standard release or a Windows Store location, nothing like that. It's kind of locked away, but this will show you how to download it, and it'll show you some of the features that it'll come with. So, first thing to do, like every other video, is to go to the search, and we gotta search for PowerToys. Just search PowerToys. It's going to be this one right here. Just click on Microsoft Docs, and then first thing you want to do is just click on this, install PowerToys. It's going to take you to another Docs page. You click on install PowerToys again. It's going to take you to their GitHub, and now this is where it's actually stored. So this gives you all the info about what kind of all of it does and things like that, and then you want to download this one right down here. All you had to do, click on this exe, and it should immediately start downloading. So open that file. And here you go. Now you agree to the license and terms. You can go to options. It just kind of tells you it's going to install it there. I'm going to leave everything default and just hit install. Okay, finally. Once that's done installing, you'll see it show up right here. It's in preview because it's not an officially released product. Once we open it up, it should actually launch right here, and then in order to get to the settings, we need to double click on this, and that'll give us to our get us to our settings. Gives us this little welcome to PowerToys, and it'll actually give you information about what each tool does. So we'll keep that open. But if you go into the settings of PowerToys, sorry, the first thing that you want to do, and I really suggest doing, is clicking this, restart PowerToys as administrator, and hitting yes. That will relaunch it as an admin, and then what you want to do is you want to go back into these settings and turn on always run as administrator. So I just like to always leave that, always change that immediately. Run at startup, whatever. And then here is where we get into all of our settings. So the first additional feature that they include in this application is always on top. This is pretty self-explanatory. Quick and easy way to pin Windows on top. Basically say, hey, let's open File Explorer. I want to make this the top window, so if I do this, File Explorer will stay on top. So we do, right here is your shortcut, your activation shortcut. You can change it by hitting this little pencil icon right here, but it's going to be Windows Control and T. So let's go over here, Windows Control T. So now this is on top, and look at that, trying to click on this, open up, another window. File Explorer will always stay on top until you either press it again or just close it. So that is always on top, pretty self-explanatory. You can change some settings, things like that. This is Awake. This one's a great way to keep your computer on at all times. Basically, you can say keep screen on right here, and then what it'll end up doing is if the computer won't go to sleep, because Windows power settings, if you didn't know, if you've been out of the loop for the past couple of years, power and sleep settings is basically useless. I mean, nothing that it does ever works. You can tell it to never turn off the screen, and it's not going to listen. It's just a pain in the ass, and Awake actually works. I'm not sure why it's not in official Windows, but it's not. So yeah. So Awake actually puts itself down here, and then you can keep screen on, you can go to mode, keep awake indefinitely, keep awake temporarily, you can set a timer. Very useful, lots of usability out of this. Color picker, this one's kind of just interesting. I wouldn't say it's useful, but it's not really something that you would need all that often. Basically, here's your activation shortcut, activation behavior, pick a color and open the editor, and it's quite self-explanatory. So I'll just show it. If you press Windows Shift and C, it's going to open up this hex thing right next to your mouse, and that'll give you a hex code for basically that color. So this color is 0000 97. So if I were to put that to an hex editor, I would get that color. It's very useful for like editing photos and things like that, making websites. Super useful because not every website has a color picker. And I know Photoshop has a color picker, but I'm not sure about other color programs. But let's turn that off for now. Oh, come on. I'm just going to do that. Stuff is a little buggy still. But yeah, basically, look, you can change by color formats, things like that. Very useful. Now, this is Fancy Zones. This is actually just the precursor to Windows. Is kind of the precursor to Windows 11's snapping. Windows 11 now lets you hold this, and it lets you like set up different snapping things. This is basically the precursor to that. So, what it will do, launch layout editor. This is what you'd want to do if you want to set this up. Here's your Fancy Zone editors. You have different templates. You can create your own template right here. Let's say grid. I want to do that, which is weird, but you know, that's what I want to do with my windows. So now you have that layout right there. You can close out of this, and then what you want to do is you want to press Windows Shift and tilde. That'll open your Fancy Zones, and then you would select that, and then if you had a bunch of windows, it should automatically snap them over. So this one's super useful, super interesting. I don't actually use it because I don't like snapping zones, but a lot of people do, and if you want to stick with Windows 10 but you want some kind of functionality like that, this is very useful. Image resizer is pretty nice. It just gives you like a very basic image resizing tool. So if we go over here and we go to our pictures folder, we should be able to just right click and hit resize pictures and select size. Say I want it medium, ignore orientation, there's a bunch of other things like that, and you hit resize and it makes a copy of it in the smaller size. So this one is 1080p and this one is 1365. It's 720p, just slightly higher resolution. But yeah, image resizer, pretty self-explanatory. Lots of things you can change. You can change your encoder, you can change your quality level if you're going to use JPEG. You can change the file name format. Lots of different things you can change about this one. I like this one, and you can also add different sizes. Very useful. I use this one all the time. So this is Keyboard Manager. I also use this all the time. This is if you really don't want to download something like AutoHotkey. I know AutoHotkey can sometimes kind of have a learning curve, but you just want like a basic bare bones way to remap a key. Right here, all you got to do, physical key, you can hit type. Let's say I want to remap my comma key, but I want it to be my O key. You can do that. And then that's it. Just hit OK, and that'll rebind your comma key to your O key. I'm not going to do that because it's kind of insane, but you know, it's there if you want to do it. Mouse utilities. This one you got Find My Mouse. If you press the left control key twice, it shows you where your mouse cursor is. Useful if you have if you have a large resolution screen or multiple screens. I often lose my mouse cursor when I have like I have a 4K screen and a 1440p screen at work, and I often lose my mouse cursor. So I double tapping the left control. There it is. Very useful. You can also customize this as much as you want. Mouse Control Alt and P. This one will give you crosshairs of where your mouse is if you wanted that for whatever reason. I guess if you wanted to align something like perfectly straight, that would be pretty useful. And then all of this can be customized. Power rename. This one I haven't used too much, so I'm not going to talk too much about it in case I get something wrong. But for what I can tell, it's just like a really good way to rename things. You can bulk rename files. You can search for files and rename in bulk. It's super, super more advanced than typical renaming. I haven't looked into it too much, but it's something that I definitely should look into, and maybe I'll make a small update in the comments or a video when I eventually figure it out. PowerToys Run is interesting. PowerToys Run is essentially, if you ever used a Mac Spotlight search, where it's got that search bar that pops up in the center of the screen and you can type something in and it'll find it. That's what PowerToys Run is. It's weird that this wasn't put into Windows 11, but I guess they probably had their reasonings. But yeah, you got like different plugins, customize all that. But if you press Alt and space, there's your Spotlight search. You can type in calculator, and then run. There's your calculator. Super useful. Really weird that this wasn't put in Windows 11, but I guess it wasn't. Video conference mute. This one is new. This one just came out like a couple of weeks ago. It does a global mute. All you do is hit that, turn it on because it's disabled by default because it's brand new. Then you press these different commands, and what it'll do is it'll mute the camera, mute the microphone, things like that. Very useful. Haven't used it yet because it's brand new. And that's about it. That is PowerToys. If you ever have any issues, and my explanations are pretty crappy, I know, you can always put this welcome to PowerToys, and they give you nice little helpful tips on every single thing. A lot of features. Basically, it's the sandbox for Windows. A lot of features that they would love to add, but maybe Microsoft doesn't want to. So they throw it in this, test things out. Some things make it in, like Fancy Zones. Some things don't, like PowerToys Run, which I still don't understand. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.